Portugal is the oldest country in Europe. Rome's conquest of the Iberian Peninsula led to the establishment of the provinces of Lusitania and Galicia. This in turn led to the creation of Portugal, whose borders were officially defined in 1139. Portugal was named after its second largest city, Porto. Portugal is a blend of Celtic, Roman, Germanic, Muslim, and Christian influences. Evidence of that influence can be found throughout the country. In the 8th century, Islamic invaders from North Africa pushed into the southern Iberian Peninsula, while Christians held on to the north. The history of Portugal goes very far back. First came the Neanderthals, then came the Romans, then came the Moors, then the Christians, and in April of 2025, we came to discover the essence of Portugal. After landing in Lisbon, we immediately began our journey to our first destination, Porto.
Well, we've arrived in Lisbon. We're at the Oriental station waiting for our train to Porto.
We traveled by high-speed train, which gave us an opportunity to see the beautiful Portuguese countryside. The 3-hour trip went quickly, but after about 15 hours of plane and train travel, we were ready to check into our first hotel. The Vila Galé is the tallest building in Porto and is conveniently located in the heart of the city. It's close to the metro station and only a 10-minute walk to the commercial district. It offers fantastic views of the city. Our first day of touring began in the early morning as we boarded our bus for our Douro Valley adventure. Douro Valley is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the oldest wine regions in the world. Terraced vineyards are carved into the mountains. Today, we're visiting two of the 18th century wine cellars that make their home in the Douro Valley.
To understand really well the Porto wines, we must back in the past till 15th century. Okay? That happened when the old Portuguese sailors, they found all around the world to conserve the red wine. They used it in that long journey, brandy, okay, for conserving the red wine. But it was really 1703. Everything had started really.
So, good morning, everyone. Welcome on board. Welcome to Douro Valley.
Seeing the Douro Valley from a boat floating on the Douro River provides a unique perspective. While peacefully floating down the river, we saw the wineries of the big names in port wine, many of which have been producing their product for over 300 years. Every acre of land seems to have grapevines. Of course, the boat ride included a wine tasting. We made a brief stop in the town of Amarante. Amarante is a small town that straddles the Tamega River. We visited the Church of São Gonçalo, built in the 16th century. Taking in the breathtaking views along the river brought us to the market where vendors offer a wide variety of merchandise on Saturdays. Our next stop was the Quinta de Santa Julia winery, where we enjoyed a three-course traditional Portuguese lunch and sampled several wines that the winery produces.
Foi sempre bom português, foi cavaleiro afamado, bom focar muita vez.
After lunch, we toured the winery. Then it was back to Porto at the end of our first day of touring. The next day, Sunday, was a free day. We had no formal tour schedule. We decided to start walking towards the river to see what we could find. We walked along Avenida Gustavo Eiffel and saw breathtaking views of the Douro River. We made our way to the Luís I Bridge that carries foot traffic on 2 levels and light rail traffic on the top level. Upon crossing, we were in the city of Galé. Just over the bridge is the cable car station. We hopped on a cable car which seemed to float down to the lower level, right on the riverbank. This was where all the action was.
Nas cortes por onde andava, quantos romances contou, era velho e não cansava, praguejava duramente, era velho e não cansava.
The street was filled with visitors enjoying the sunny day. Vendors offered art, jewelry, and tourist keepsakes. Shops and restaurants lined the street, and soon it was time for a quick lunch. This afternoon, it was empanadas and sangria. The effects of gravity seem to intensify the more sangria you drink. We sat there for so long that the place closed up. It's hard to say how long we were there. After all, we were on sangria time. Eventually, we got up and continued walking. So, we're walking down the street when suddenly I stop and say, "Hey, wait a minute, there's something fishy going on here." Well, it turns out that we were right in front of the wonderful world of Portuguese sardines, where they endeavor to put every type of fish imaginable in a can.
I told you 10. Yeah. 10 turkeys.
They were so happy to see us that they made me King of Sardines. It's good to be king. Then we went next door, where there was a guy playing piano upstairs, while people downstairs were making fish balls. I wondered if it was the sangria, but I saw it, I swear. We had a great day in Gaia, a municipality just across the Douro River, but it was time to leave and prepare for tomorrow, Monday, and our Best of Braga tour. They talk about the rain in Spain, but the rain in Portugal is definitely a contender for the title. Our first stop was the Bom Jesus Church. The beautifully manicured gardens are meticulously maintained, with not a leaf out of place. It's a very impressive sight, and there's even a hotel on the grounds. This is what it looks like when it's nice out. The interior of the church is equally impressive. It's a Baroque-style Catholic church, which was raised to the status of basilica by Pope Pius XII in 1946. The next stop was the Sé de Braga Cathedral, right in the heart of Braga. This cathedral was the first Portuguese cathedral. It was erected decades before the founding of Portugal, around 1089 AD. We spent some time walking through Braga, exploring its shops and gardens. Our next stop was Guimarães and the Guimarães Castle. It was built in the 10th century to defend from attacks by Moors and Norsemen. No trip to Porto would be complete without a stop at the O Porto dos Gatos cafe. We had nothing scheduled on Tuesday, so we took the opportunity to have lunch and visit the cafe. It's a vegetarian restaurant and cat adoption center, all rolled into one. Portugal is famous for azulejo, which are painted ceramic tiles. The São Bento train station has a renowned display of them and is a popular tourist attraction. The station opened in 1916. After the train station, we visited the Portuguese Center of Photography. The center is housed in an old building that was used as a prison until the 1970s. The museum exhibits photographs taken by renowned Portuguese photographers, as well as an extensive collection of cameras. On Wednesday, it was time to say goodbye to Porto, as we boarded a high-speed train for our trip back to Lisbon. Our destination was the Radisson Blu Hotel. On Saturday, we had a 4-hour Tuk Tuk Tour scheduled. A Tuk Tuk is a great way to see a city like Lisbon, as it's easy to stop at sites and see them in greater detail than you would if you were in a bus or a car. We made several stops that offered beautiful vistas of the city.
Vida triste e chorada, o teu destino te deu. Rosa humilde e perfumada, e afinal desventurada.
We passed many interesting sights, such as this one. This used to be the red light district in Lisbon. Now it's transformed into a lively block filled with restaurants and shops. We made a stop at the LX Factory, a factory complex built in 1849 that has recently been transformed into a collection of restaurants, shops, and bars. It's become an important destination in Lisbon's nightlife. The pastel de nata is the iconic custard tart known throughout Portugal. This is where it all began. This is Pastéis de Belém. Since 1837, these guys have been turning out world-famous custard tarts by the thousands. On the northern bank of the Tagus River sits the Monument to the Discoveries. Since 1960, this monument celebrates the Portuguese age of exploration during the 15th and 16th centuries. What a great way to see the city, but our Tuk Tuk Tour was now at an end. We continued to explore on foot. So, we were walking down the street when all of a sudden we see bubbles. Lots and lots of bubbles. So we said, hey, we need to pop them. So we did. So, a little later, we were walking down the street when we see this guy floating in midair. And I said, hey, it seems that the Portuguese are able to defy gravity. Who knew? Oh man, it's raining again. Friday was worse than Monday. Everything was wet. One of the few times it wasn't raining was when we met at the Hard Rock Cafe for our Sintra and Cascais tour. It turned out that umbrellas were the most important thing we brought on our trip. But even with the umbrellas, we got soaked. Our first stop in Sintra was the National Palace of Pena. We climbed a very steep hill with the rain pouring down and watched our destination through the fog get gradually closer. This is what the palace looks like when it's nice out. The Pena Palace began as a castle in the Middle Ages. In 1493, a monastery was added to the site and later donated to the Order of St. Jerome. The castle lay in ruins after an earthquake in 1755. In 1838, King Ferdinand acquired the land and rebuilt it into the palace that stands today. It finally stopped raining after we left the palace and drove into the town of Sintra. It gave us a welcome opportunity to dry out as we walked through the town. We stumbled upon Casa Piriquita and stopped in to experience one of their specialties, a sweet cheese pillow called quejadas. The bakery opened in 1862. After we left Sintra, we made a stop at Cabo da Roca. Cabo da Roca is the westernmost point in Europe. The cliffs provide a spectacular view. From there, we continued on to Cascais. This town was a small fishing village, but since the 1870s, Cascais has been a popular destination for royalty and the wealthy.
Nowadays, it's frequented by the rich and famous. The timing couldn't have been better for the sun to come out while we were exploring the town. I guess it turned out to be a nice day after all. So, we were walking down the street when suddenly I stopped and said, "Hey, weren't we here before?" Well, it turns out that there are sardine stores all over Portugal. This is the one in Cascais. It was time for some ice cream to end a beautiful day that started out, well, biblical in a way. Saturday was our last full day in Portugal and had no tours planned. We decided to go to the Lisbon Museum. It was a short walk from the hotel and turned out to be very worthwhile. The museum has exhibits of Portugal from prehistoric to modern times. When we finished exploring the inside of the museum, we went out to the gardens. After it stopped raining, of course. The well-manicured gardens are beautiful. Peacocks keep a watchful eye. They're all over the grounds. Mario Soares Garden is a park that runs the length of Campo Grande Street. That was our next stop, just across from the museum. The park is about a mile long, and we walked leisurely until the very end. We stopped for coffee before we walked back to the hotel along Campo Grande Street. The end of the day marked the end of our Portuguese adventure. Through its food, culture, and people, we got to see and experience so much that we can safely say that we acquired a deep appreciation for the essence of Portugal.